Continuing now with our analysis of the bailout and its implications for Barack Obama and John McCain. Word is Congress may have the bill ready by tomorrow, as we said. So it's possible the debate in Mississippi could happen tomorrow night. Joining us now from Philadelphia, Fox News analyst Dr. Marc Lamont Hill. Okay, you heard Laura Ingraham. What say you?
Well, I think that it seems like for once all of us are in agreement that this so-called bailout has to happen. There's no way that we can allow the market to become unstable. There's no way that people can lose faith in the American government. So I think we're all in agreement about the bailout. The question becomes, what strings do we attach to this? Do we just give government a handout and big business a handout and do nothing else? Do we allow them to go back unchecked again? We need regulation. And I think Barack Obama is in favor of regulation. And I think to say that this is not a failure of the free market, or a failure of greed, but a failure of us not letting the free market go unfettered, I think is ridiculous. The free market doesn't work for poor people in absolute terms.
Okay, but the point that Laura Ingraham was making, and this is a sensitive point, is that Barney Frank and others pressured banks to give loans to people who weren't making a lot of money. You know, now we understand, and Laura said it, might be a compassionate policy. It's not a sound fiscal policy. The reason we're in this mess is because millions of Americans, not just poor people, there were a lot of middle-class people, upper middle class, who bought big homes way over their income level, and they're responsible too. But is that a legitimate point? That pushing social engineering, saying, look, you've got to give these people loans even if they can't afford it. What say you about it?
Providing people, first of all, providing people access to quality housing is not social engineering as if it's some wild Frankenstein
experiment. Depends how much the quality housing costs.
No,
you know, I mean, does everybody get a $250,000 home? Does everybody get a $500,000 home?
No, absolutely not. I mean, and that's where individual responsibility comes in. You know, you Republicans can learn anything about individual responsibility.
I'm not a Republican. I can sue you for that.
I'm talking to the American people, not you, Bill. You're fair and balanced and independent. But what I'm saying here, is that, you know, people who make $50,000 a year who want to get into a $500,000 house and they're upside down and they're desperate right now, I don't have a lot of sympathy for them. Who I have sympathy for are the American people who were baited by unscrupulous lenders and brokers and so forth. Those are the people we need to bail out, not the people who lied on their applications.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Do you feel sorry for the person making $20,000 who has no skills, dropped out of high school, maybe fathered a couple of children, and they can't, and they would like a nice house, but they can't earn enough money to buy it? Do you feel sorry for them? Should society provide them a house?
What we need to give them access to is housing, not necessarily, you know, the
what do you mean by
O'Reilly estate.
Should we build them houses and give them those houses?
Well, there are a lot of options here. One option is quality public housing. Another thing is rent control. Another thing is providing loans for people. There are a lot of options, and so many of them have been swallowed up over the last 30 years that people are desperate for housing. They're desperate for the American dream, and then you have an unscrupulous lender who comes and says,
but you have to work for the American dream. You see, you have to get educated and skilled to get. So I just want to be clear, though. So you don't feel sorry for the people who have overreached. All right,
no.
who are making 60, 70 grand, but they want the McMansion that costs $700,000. Right. You don't feel sorry for them. But you do feel sorry for the people at $20,000, $25,000 who also overreached to buy a $100,000, $150,000 house they can't afford.
But they don't have options. But they don't have any other options. My concern is if you don't have access to quality public housing, which is being destroyed, which is being relocated, when you don't have access to those things, when it's hard to get a loan, when you don't have access to quality jobs, you need something. And I'm saying that let's not completely demonize these people.
I'm not demonizing. I'm just trying to understand. But you can't have access to quality jobs when you don't have a skill and you don't know anything. That's the problem.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. The housing issue and the economic issue is part of a broader social issue. We need to fix a lot of problems here, not one at a time. It's a multi-pronged thing. And if we do that, then we can get to the core of this.
This is where I always separate from you and other very liberal people. You can't force people to be responsible. You can't force them to get educated and acquire a skill. The government can't force them to do it.
But what you can do, Bill, is reward responsible behavior by giving them an arena in which to be responsible.
But that's what Frank said. Let's give hardworking people cheap paper so they can buy a house, and then when something went wrong, they couldn't pay it back. All right, I got to ask you about Barack Obama. Did he handle this the right way?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, I'm open to critique Barack Obama, but I think he handled this the right way. You know, he's campaigning for president. He wants to be president. He should be president, and so he's becoming a president. John McCain, however, is saying, I'm going to go back to Washington, which is nothing but smoke and mirrors. It's a big publicity stunt, which I thought made him seem impulsive rather than rational or statesmanly.
But he went up, but the folks bought it. He went up 3 points in one day in a poll. Folks bought it.
Yeah, well, polls fluctuate, but in terms of substance, I found it to be a very disappointing gesture here. I would have rather seen him actually, debate tomorrow, be open to debating tomorrow, and having a conversation with the American people. Oh, I hope so. It's to his advantage. He actually has an advantage in the debate over Barack on this issue.
Okay. Doctor, always a pleasure. Thank you very much.